Good day, Converses and Corvettes. I get angry at everything, and I am here to explain a little backstory regarding this video. So, this isn't the first time I shot this video. Approximately 3 weeks ago, I shot the exact same video with a completely different top 100 list. However, there were a couple things wrong with the original top 100 list. The main reason being is because I treated this top 100 more as an overall thing rather than my personal favorite albums of all time, which is what the original video idea was. So that's why I am reshooting this video. I still plan on releasing that video. It is almost done. I'm not releasing it right away though. I want to let this video marinate. Let's people grab attention from this video. See how people react to this video before I drop what would have been the original video to my top 100 personal favorite albums of all time. This video is the official version of my top 100 personal favorite albums of all time. Remember, it is just my opinion. You don't have to listen to me. I'm just a guy who really likes music, and these are my personal favorite albums of all time. I would also like to mention before the video starts that the person I filmed this video with, Tubby, has his very own all-time albums list, except it's not 100, it's only 50, because he has not listened to the amount of music that I have. It is also recorded and edited by yours truly, so if you would like to go check out that video, the link will be on screen at the end of the video and in the description along with his YouTube channel. Anyways, enough out of me, let's get right onto the video. So obviously we have to go over the albums that didn't make the list anymore. Obviously, there's quite a few.
I see that.
First one is kind of obvious. Fear Inoculum. That was all the way at the bottom. That was expected.
Yeah, I'm just happy it made it in the first cut.
Second one,
It's all
also obvious. Summertime '06. Second half is really not something to come back to. Third one, I don't like the whole album necessarily. I only like cherry picked my favorite. So next one, mainly because of how recent it is. And it kind of doesn't compete with everything else in terms of like how connected I feel to the album.
Yeah.
Next one, unfortunately, it did not make the cut. It is a really good album, but in my opinion, it doesn't compete with everything else.
That's unfortunate.
I know you disagree. Next one, didn't really have a lot of staying power to begin with. It was just there because of nostalgia. Next one, I do really enjoy this album. I do really enjoy this album. I don't come back to it often though. There's, in my opinion, there's better soul albums to listen to.
Okay.
Next one, another one I don't come back to often.
I'm feeling personally attacked now, but
remember, this is my list.
I know, okay? I know.
Next one, the more I think about it, the more this one really doesn't stick around all that much. There are better Jay-Z albums. Next one. Listen, it's a really good album. And I think if I made my top 100 all-time albums, it'll be on the list. But in terms of how much I come back to it personally, I don't. So that's why it's no longer on the list. I need to look away because there's more.
Okay.
There's more. Believe it or not. Meanwhile, as recording Angry at Everything gets the rest of the album set up, editing Angry at Everything is here to tell you that recording Angry at Everything forgot a few more albums that are no longer from the original list. Those albums being Rage Against the Machine self-titled, Acid Rap by Chance the Rapper, and Virtual Moonlight by Voyage Future. Anyways, back onto the video. Next one is one that I also don't come back to frequently, but it is
it's funny
it is a really good album. I do enjoy the production on this immensely. It would make my all-time, like I said, with A Night at the Opera. But personally, I don't come back to it often. What were you gonna say?
I agree. I would say, sorry to interrupt you. Hopefully you can edit that out. I agree because it's a great album, but I've only listened to it that one time. I haven't come back to it. So
I came back to it, but in terms of replayability for me, it's just it doesn't stick. Next one, you might be shocked if it's the one I'm thinking about. It is.
I thought you love this album.
I love this album, but remember how I said in the first video I was torn between this one and another album?
Okay.
Foreshadowing. Next album. Yes, I do enjoy this album a lot, but again, I only come back to a handful of songs.
Yeah, get that post-hardcore off of there.
What's wrong with it?
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
I'm just joshing. Next one.
Oh!
There's better vibey albums.
Sure,
next one, I literally only come back to No More Parties in LA. Everything else, I do not come back to. I don't come back to that album at all. Next one, Daytona.
Oh.
Literally only come back to the Gainsley play. And another song that I can't think about the top of my head. But, you know, still really solid album. What's this one? Next one.
Bro, what the fuck?
There's better, like I said with Mac DeMarco, there's better vibey albums. And this one just simply doesn't compete.
You were listening to a song off this album last night. I just want to
one song.
That in there.
One song. Last one. Yes.
Okay.
Okay. I do have one honorable mention. This one nearly made the list by a hair, but I decided to restrict myself to actual music instead of video game soundtracks.
Undertale soundtrack. I haven't played Undertale, so I haven't heard it.
And also, I have a petty placement. This one goes out to Hakai. Literally only been 2 months since the album came out.
Oh my
Literally
God.
only been 2 months since the album came out, and he expects me to have this on my top 100. Simply cannot happen. Also, another album I don't come back to frequently, even though I do enjoy the entire album. But it's only been 2 months since the album came out. You gotta understand. You might be thinking to yourself, what could possibly be the very last placement? What has survived by a hair? That would be Crime of the Century by Supertramp. This one managed to survive by just the speck of a hair. If it weren't for me, you know, deciding to not include the Undertale soundtrack only because we're going to make a separate video on that, it wouldn't be on here. We're going to go back to how you feel personally attacked, okay? Because 99 is won by Tesseract.
Oh.
It moved all the way down from 77 to here.
Wow, that's a big mover.
It is a really good album. One that I would listen to at the gym. I haven't gone back to it since I listened to it at the gym.
You need to get back in the gym then.
I do go to the gym. I do go to the gym. 98, Ghost by Big Wreck. Didn't move all that much in the first place. Only moved down from the 92nd spot. 97 is Metropolis, Scenes of a Memory by Dream Theater. That would move down all the way from 80. A really solid album, but I only come back to like 2 songs. 96. This one's a big mover. This one was funny because of the placement it was in the original video. Doggy Style.
Wait, so 69 to 9, bro. Why are you memeing so hard?
You know what? I don't even realize this until you tell me. You can't even. You know what?
You flipped the Doggy Style, bro.
We're moving on. 95 is Zoo by Denzel Curry.
Okay.
Really solid album all the way through. Again, with Metropolis, I've only cherry picked like 3 songs, but in terms of the album, front to back, great listen. 94 is a new album, one that you haven't seen yet. Okay. It is super low, but in terms of the overall experience, it's a really great experience, but I literally only come back to 2 songs. 94, The Infamous by Mobb Deep.
Okay.
Really solid album all the way through. 93 is Promises by Floating Points. In terms of the overall experience, yet again, it is amazing. It's all orchestra music, in case you haven't figured out, by the London Symphony Orchestra. But I've only gone back to it twice. 92, Man on the Moon 2 by Kid Cudi. Same deal as everything else. I only come back to like 4 songs. 91 is Van Halen self-titled.
Okay.
The more I think about this album, the more annoyed I get about having to put myself through this album. However, it is still only the good Van Halen album out of everything in their discography. I can actually tolerate sitting through the whole thing front to back. But in terms of actually wanting to go through that, I don't want to put myself through that at the moment.
You made it sound like you don't like Van Halen.
I mean, I do enjoy Van Halen, except if you think about the songs, like first 4 songs everybody knows, but because of how much they've gotten played, I don't ever really want to go out of my way to go back to them.
Yeah, okay.
So in a way, I am, annoyed by Van Halen, but I don't mind if it plays once. 90 is Repeating History by a Marionette. This is still on the list because as a whole album, it is amazing to sit through front to back. 89 is a brand new album, and in terms of, sitting through the whole thing, it is a really laid back, chill experience because it is jazz music. 89, Blue Train by John Coltrane. Love this album. Such a vibe. 88, another new album by a band you have seen on the list. So now this is the replacement. The Battle of Los Angeles. I enjoy this one a little bit more.
Songs off there, man.
There's so many good songs off of here.
Testify is a great one. Sleep
Guerrilla
Now
Radio.
In the Fire. Guerrilla Radio.
Calm Like a Bomb.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Okay.
I enjoy this one a lot better than Self-Titled. Don't get me wrong, Self-Titled is a classic, but this one has a lot more replayability. 87, now we're actually going to get into the album that I was just talking about that moved up from the list since we made the video. From 95 to 87, we're bringing out The White Boy and Me again. It's All My Heroes Are Cornballs by JPEG. 86 is 1X by 3 Days Grace. Obviously, this still has to be here. The teenage angst is never going to go away. 85 was another big mover, and it's An Evening with Silk Sonic by Bruno Mars, Anderson .Paak. That one moved all the way down from 42.
Yeah.
That was a big mover. 84 is a new album by an artist I had mentioned from the section where they didn't make the list. And it is an album I really enjoy. In terms of replayability, I get a lot more out of this one. 84 is Late Registration by Kanye. So many good songs off this one. 83 is another new album by an artist that I've talked to you about before, Immensely. Another super solid album from them. 83 is Old by Danny Brown. Such a good album. A matter of fact, I'll mention this right now. Hakai, this is for you, because the last song features Charlie XCX. So here you go. She made the list. Moving on. 82 is Taboo by Denzel Curry. This one also moved up since the last time we did this, from 91. 81, another new album that has made the list by an artist that is still on the list from the first video. 81 is 2000 by Joey Badass.
Yeah.
So many good songs off this one. 80 is yet again another new album. I have enjoyed this one since release, and ever since it's been released, I haven't been able to stop listening to it, so this had to make the list. 80, Heroes and Villains by Metro Boomin.
I've heard good things about this album.
It's so good. I enjoy most of the album, front to back. There is like one skip for me, but entire album is so good. There's so much replayability in this one. 79 is Vaudeville Villain. Still made the list. That one moved up, actually, from 83. 78 is a new album, and this is the album I mentioned when I revealed Magna Carta to you. That would be The Blueprint by Jay-Z. Way better songs, way better listen front to back. 77 is another new album, and it really intrigued me because if my memory serves me right, Anthony Fantano, I think, gave it a 10 out of 10 and said some of the best guitar riffs to come out of the decade that this album was released in. I might be wrong. I'll fact check when I edit the video. Editor will let me know. But when I did listen to this album, such a good experience front to back. 77 is Marquee Moon by Television. 76 didn't move at all. It's You Will Never Know Why by Sweet Trip.
Okay.
Didn't move at all. I did go back to listen to it just to make sure, it stayed in the same spot. Pretty solid placement for where it is. 75 is 3 Feet High and Rising by De La Soul. That one moved down from 59. That was also another big mover.
Yeah, it was.
Still a solid vibe from this album all around. 74 is a new album. And remember when I talked about Tame Impala? This is the other album. I didn't mean to do that. This is the other album I was talking about. And it's
Currents is better than that album, though, in my opinion.
Currents is way better than the Slow Rush. Listen, I don't know what I was thinking about the first list, but I must have been influenced by some people. This is the better album. 73, another new album. There's so many new albums in this section. We were talking about this album last night because you disagreed with me that it was not a low-key vibe. 73 is You're Dead by Flying Lotus.
It's not. Okay. I didn't say the album. I said a specific song was not a low-key vibe.
It is pretty low-key for the most part. But I did move it from low-key vibes to just regular vibes for real in my Spotify, if that makes you happy.
Okay. Well, I still think it's very much a high-energy song. If you want to share the song name, you can put it right here in my hands.
I'll put it right there in your hands. It'll also be in the Spotify playlist. That will be linked in the description for this list specifically. One song from every album. 72, another new album. This one surprised me because this is when I was on my journey for listening to more post-rock music. This is labeled post-rock, and if I'm not mistaken, I think it's ambient post-rock, and it must be because the vibes on this are super low-key, great for a late-night drive. 72 is Hex by Bark Psychosis. 71, we might have talked about this one already, but it's For the Forever Story by JID.
Foreshadowing.
That was also a big mover. From 43 down to 71. 70 is another new album. In terms of how much I enjoy the album, exponentially. It is just a acoustic guitar and vocals. The whole album. And it's only like 30 minutes long. But it's just a very enjoyable listen all around. 70 is QP by Ichiko Aoba. Yes, it is just a teal album cover. There is something there. I can prove it if you want to look down. What the fuck?
Wait, what'd you do?
I said if you want to look down.
I did look down.
I did just prove it, but someone got a little cheeky. 69 is another new album. And after thinking about how much replayability I get from this album, there is a lot of replayability. And you've seen me listen to this album before. It is The Mouse and the Mask by Danger Doom.
And I told you about this album. And
you
I
did.
said you'd really enjoy it.
Yes, I did really enjoy it because Danger Mouse is one of my favorite producers of all time. 68 is Live Love ASAP. That one didn't move all that much. 67 is Graduation. Still a really solid album. There is like 2 skips though. Everybody knows what they are. 66 is 1999 by Joey Badass.
Nice.
Also moved down not that much. Super solid album all around. 65 is Control by SZA. Let me look. Where'd it go? Where did it go? Did I write it down? I don't think I wrote it down. Did that one move? It did move. 64 is Food by MF Doom. That one, I believe, moved down from 45. 63 is Black on Both Sides by Mos Def. Also moved from 41. 62 is a new album by an artist I consider to be in my big three because of how strong his discography is. With so many albums and how strong it is, he has to be in my big three. 62 is Magic by Nas. I think he does way better as just him on a song rather than having features. Just my opinion. 61 is Cheat Codes by Danger Mouse and Black Thought. I love this album. I really do. We have reached the 60s. The 60 through 51. 60 is a new album, believe it or not. I have heard many people on TikTok talk about this album, and after listening to it, I get why. It is a super enjoyable listen all the way through. I would get the vinyl if I could. 60 is The Plugs I Met by Benny the Butcher. 59 is Scarin' the Hose, JPEG and Danny Brown. That one moved 9 places. Same with this album. These two were side by side. They have just both moved down 9 spots respectively. It's Section 80 by Kendrick Lamar. No longer in the top 50, unfortunately. 57 is Nonagon Infinity, The Infinite Sound, or The Infinite Song, rather. Because if you sit through it front to back and let it replay from the start, it'll sound like the never-ending song. That is the whole theme of the album. This one also didn't move from the original list. It's Godspeed at State's End. Whee! Didn't move from the original list, which you had a freak out about, by the way. You'll see that when the video comes out. 55. Another big mover, and it's Animals by Pink Floyd. That one moved all the way from 36. 54 is Bad by Michael Jackson. I would say I enjoy this one more than, what's the other one called? Thriller. 53 is another new album. Yes, there has been enough time to let this one sink, especially since Scaring the Hose is on this list. And I do get a lot of replayability out of this one. 53 is Utopia by Travis Scott. My first time listening to this was such a good experience also. So it has some sentimental value. 52 is Die Lit. That one moved up, actually, from 62. Moved up 10 whole spots. 51 is Long Live A$AP. 50 is 444 by Jay-Z. 444, the song itself, could genuinely make a grown man cry, in my opinion. 49 is Igor by Tyler, the Creator. Super enjoyable listen all around. I think that one actually moved up. It did, from 60. Now it's all the way at 49. Mainly because from everything else being moved, this one just got pushed up. But still, I agree with this placement. 48 is the album I wanted to talk to you about, and it's Blonde by Frank Ocean. Oh. That one moved up from 61, but listen, we got to talk about this album real quickly, because I did go back to listen to it to figure out why it made this placement, and I figured out why. This album is a little bit overrated for what people say. It is a super vibey album all around, but as a whole, and especially for my opinion, it barely breaks the top 50. It is not a top 10 album of all time. Stop telling yourself that. 47 is Kid See Ghost, self-titled. That was also a big mover from 30. 46 is a new album. One from an artist that we have talked about before in the post-rock genre. One that you particularly don't like, but I absolutely, with all my heart, love front to back. You might know what it is. It's Young Mountain by This'll Destroy You. Mm-hmm. Super, just absolutely incredible experience front to back. That one had me emotional. 45 is another new album. I gotta say, the second song had me in tears. Such a beautiful song, the way it's orchestrated. I found this one through Every Noise at Once, the website. It's in the post-rock genre. The first artist I clicked on, just, out of curiosity, and, just click and you see what sounds I got. And it was the second song off of this album, and it was just like, blew me away. Absolutely beautiful song. The album is The Stolen View by Leech.
Never heard of it.
It is such a good album. The reason why the second song had me in tears, it's just because I'm a guitar player, and the way the guitar was orchestrated in the song, just, oh my god, could make a grown man cry. 44 is the biggest move out of the entire list. I'll give you a hint. It moved from 96 and now it's here.
Oh,
It's an album you love by an artist that I mentioned in the previous section. Can you figure it out?
I think so.
It's Changes by King
Yes!
Giz. By
King
King
Giz!
Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard.
I love this album so much, dude.
I got him hooked on this album.
It's such a fucking bop.
It's such a bop. 43 is Astro World by Travis Scott. Didn't move all that much. 42 is Sold Separately by Freddie Gibbs. The first album that I landed on in my wheel. And it hasn't left my rotation since. 41 is Genesis Self-Titled. That one moved from 32. Still broke the top 50, and it has to have some sentimental value to me because this is my dad's favorite, and it is a super enjoyable album all around. I have the vinyl for it. 40 is It's Almost Dry by Pusha T. I have the vinyl for this one also, which I can't believe I found, which is incredible to me. 39, In Court of the Crimson King, has to be here. That one didn't move that much actually, but has to be here. 38 is Jar of Flies, Alice in Chains. We love this one. Only moved one place down.
Wow.
37 is The Glowing Man by Swans. That one moved from 16. 36 is New Album from an artist I had already mentioned previously, but super beautiful album all the way through. Just, it's so good. And I'm going to have to censor it once I show you. 36 is Windswept Add-On by Ichiko Oba, and you're getting covered up. 35 is We Got It From Here, Thank You For Your Service by A Tribe Called Quest. That one moved up from 51. 34 is another big mover. This one moved from 58, and it's one you disagreed with the most. 34, and I'm sure you'll like the placement of this one now because, it doesn't help that I bought the vinyl for this one also. 34 is Swimming by Mac Miller.
Yeah.
Is this a better placement for you now?
Yeah, I like this placement.
This is a very good placement. Ow! I had punched my desk. This album, if we're comparing this to Blonde, this beats Blonde out of the fucking park. This is the better album because they were both respectively like 5 places apart from the 50s section, but this one is just blows it out of the park. 33 is Enter the Wu-Tang by Wu-Tang Clan. That one moved up from 54. 32 is Rodeo by Travis Scott. Love this album front to back. It is perfect all the way through. 31 is Kid A by Radiohead.
Oh, okay.
That one moved from 23.
We're finally getting into the Radiohead.
30 is Led Zeppelin 4. Woo! Yeah. Finally, after the third try, I got the vinyl for it. And thankfully I waited because it's a clear vinyl. 29, Off the Wall by Michael Jackson. We were just talking about it earlier. The album you would think would show up later, and it did. 28 is a big mover because it's Operation Mindcrime by Queensryche.
Ew.
That one moved from 14. 27 is another really big mover because this was at number 2 in my original list. That would be The Grand Illusion by Styx.
Oh, wow.
So even my top 10 has changed. 26 is Bandana by Freddie Gibbs.
Okay.
Love this album. 25 is iRobot by the Alan Parsons Project. Still made this high up on the list. Only moved actually up 4 places. It was at 29. 24 is Mad Villainy. That one moved down actually from 17.
Yeah.
Still broke the top 30, which is a pretty high placement. 23 is Liquid Swords by GZA. One of the best albums to come out from a Wu-Tang Clan member. Other people would argue Supreme Kai and Tell by Ghostface Killah, but this one, it's just really good. So good. 22 is the last new album in the list. Can you believe it made it this high? But it is just such a vibe. 22 is Kind of Blue by Miles Davis.
Mm.
Such a vibe. I cannot get enough of this album. And 21 didn't move all that much. It actually moved down 2 placements. But 21 is Lift Your Skinny Fist Like Antennas to Heaven.
Wow.
So Miles Davis was the last new album. Everything else you've seen already.
All right.
It's just moved around. To kick things off with albums you already know, it's the... Oh, shit.
Oh.
I didn't even move it. 20, now it's actually the correct order. And 20
Okay.
is The Low End Theory by A Tribe Called Quest. Such an enjoyable listen all the way through. Most of the album is in my rotation.
Fun fact about this album, I
Okay.
don't know if you know this or not. It is one of 4 rap albums that are sealed at Harvard University.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Number 19, the perfect follow-up for an already perfect album, Midnight Marauders. A Tribe Called
Back-to-back
Quest.
tribes.
Back-to-back vibes. The perfect follow-up for an already perfect album. 18 is Octavarium by Dream Theater. Still holds a special place in my heart because just the experience you'll get is just blows you away. 17 is Call Me If You Get Lost by Tyler. Love this album all the way through. I think it has to be his best album in his discography. 16 is Reasonable Doubt by Jay-Z. Still such an amazing album for a debut also. 15 is 10 by Pearl Jam. Holds a special place in my heart. 14 is Vespertine by Bjork. This is just a beautiful experience all around. Beautiful, beautiful. God, you have to listen to this album. 13 is Illmatic by Nas. Just such an amazing album. 12 is another big mover. This one moved from 39. And it's OK Computer by Radiohead. What was that about?
Well, it's just okay. You know how I feel about some of the songs off this album.
I know. You think it's, not that impressive.
Yeah.
But this, too good. 11, no longer in my top 10 from the original list. Yankee UXO.
Oh, wow.
Still very high nonetheless. Okay, so we're ready.
We are here with
Let's
the top
kick off
10.
Let's kick off the top 10. And I bet you've been wondering where this album has been.
Oh, there it is.
Yes, it broke my top 10.
Yes, it did.
Yes, it did. Okay. I was wrong from the first list. You can say however many times you want. Number 9 is Atrocity Excavation by Danny Brown. 8 is The Dark Side of the Moon by Pink Floyd.
Okay.
In my top 10 now. Not
Yeah.
in my original list, but in the top 10 now. 7 is In Rainbows by Radiohead. You had to expect this one.
Yep.
One of the best indie rock, art rock albums of all time. 6, Empire, Queensryche.
Mm.
One of the first album that got me into heavy metal. Haven't looked back since. Just Della Brown, you have to listen to. Such a joyride. Great album. Great album of all time. Super good. 4, Physical Graffiti. That one moved from 10. That one moved up.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah, it did. Love this album. The best Led Zeppelin album. 3, we still have the number 3. Didn't move from the original list, and yes, I do think it's better than T-Pab. It's Mr. Morale.
Yep. There it is.
I do think it's better. Just everything about it. So good. 2, this one you might be surprised by. From 8 to 2, it's Songs in the Key of Life.
Wow.
Love this album. Just cannot get enough of it. And of course, number 1 didn't change. It's Wish You Were Here. That one will never change.
Good list.
Much better than the first list.
Good list.
Good list. One that you actually agree with.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm happy to see 2 Kendrick albums in your top 10.
Yeah, I didn't think it would make the top 10, but after thinking about it, it did.
You know, I'm surprised in both lists there wasn't at least one more Godspeed album that was put on here.
Which
But
one?
maybe that's just me. I always thought you would eventually come around on F sharp, A sharp infinity.
Unfortunately, no. It's too dark.
Uh,
Too dark for me to listen to. It just doesn't fit a vibe for me at all. Late night, early in the day, it doesn't really fit. Still a really enjoyable experience all around, but not my thing.
yeah. Okay.
Do we do outros? You want to do the outro? Go ahead. Do the outro. I'm putting you on the spot. Do it right now.
This is the outro.
This is the outro, by
I'm
the way.
doing the outro.
He's doing the
right now.
outro. This is
is
his
the outro.
outro.
This is credits rolling.
This is the credits. For who?
For everybody a part of this.
I'd like to thank Tubby.
Run credits!
Yeah, that's it. Hopefully you like this list more.